bringing you with a brand new video, and today we have Erratas. The OCG got a new ban list, and a lot of the cards on here are errated, so I guess we could just talk about the cards right here. So the first card that we have here is Brain Control. You pay 800 life points now. Then target one face-up monster your opponent controls, and then that can be normal summon or set. Then take control of that monster until the end phase. So this card has actually still a lot of uses. Any monster that can be normal summon or set doesn't necessarily have to be normal summon or set. So let's say your opponent special summons, like, I don't know, for the sake of argument, Elemental Hero Bubble Man. You can still take it because it can be normal summoned. And then you take control of it until the end phase. I think this card's still going to be very good. You're probably going to use this to ram into your opponent's monsters. You're probably going to do this to do a little bit more damage. I still think it's a decent card. I think it only affects a very minor amount of monsters. It affects stuff like you can't target like Xyz or Synchros or Fusion monsters with this card, which I guess is fine. It's fair enough, but you can still target Pendle monsters because they can be a normal summon. The majority of them can. So I'm not sure what they're trying to get at here. And the second card is Future Fusion, and I don't think they hit this card hard enough to make it even remotely balanced. Because so let me give you a bit of context behind what I just said. When Future Fusion was at one, when it was legal, the main function of Future Fusion at the time wasn't necessarily to fusion summon a monster 2 turns later. It was to dump 5 monsters into your graveyard. This is Chaos Dragon format. You were to dump 5 monsters into your graveyard, and then you would just go off. You would just go ham because of this. I don't think they didn't even touch this effect. They didn't bother to do anything with this effect. So I think if they put this card back to 1, I think the card is still relatively broken. The second effect, which is the one that got errated, which is weird. It doesn't really matter because you're not, even if you didn't get the summon, it didn't really matter. The summon was merely a bonus. So I don't think they hit this card really too hard. They kind of went light on Future Fusion, so I wouldn't be surprised if Chaos Dragons made a resurgence in the OCG, and I guess they have to ban it again, which would be interesting. But I guess this is kind of just a way of saying, okay, these cards have been banned for use. We might as well just do something with them. That way they could be at least remotely playable. But that's neither here nor there. And Imperial Order. This card is still absurdly broken too. I kind of still think they kind of wanted to keep the identity of the card relatively the same. So that's why they didn't completely butcher it like they did with like Sinister Serpent and a Ring of Destruction, where they're completely unplayable cards. You must pay 700 life points this time. It's not optional, so you can't just say, okay, I could turn this off whenever I feel like it. You can still probably do that in some way, shape, or form, but you got to be really, really tricky about it. If you're playing one of those and you already have your scale set up, you could probably just turn this card off no matter what. I mean, it's good in the mirror match, and it's also kind of decent against certain decks. It's good against it's good turn 1 against ABCs, because that means they can't go into their spells, which is fine. I'm not even sure they can equip their Union monsters. I'm not sure if that even matters. I'm not sure that matters. But if you cannot pay 700 life points to destroy this card, so it's like if it's your last 700 life points, you can't pay it. You can't technically pay it, or else you lose. Technically you could, and then you lose. But if it's like 600, you can't play the game. You can't pay your life points. You got to kill it. While this card is in the spell and trap card zone, negate the spell effects on the field. Negate all the spell effects on the field. So it negates Pendle monsters too. So congratulations, you kind of made this card a little bit. I guess it's still broken. I think it's still broken. And Goyo. This is actually one of the interesting cards because it doesn't really matter. Because we had this card at 3 forever, and it's done absolutely nothing. I think if they just put this card at 1 to see how it goes without the errata, they would actually see why the errata is actually pointless. So the errata is just an Earth Tuner. Requires an Earth Tuner. It's no longer generic, I guess. I guess it's fine. But I still think I think even without the errata, it would not see play in the OCG. It just wouldn't. The second effect is Bryonic Dragon of the Ice Barrier. It is a level 6 water sea serpent. Or well, it's been eroded. You can only use its effect once a turn, and you only use it on your opponent's cards and not your own, which is really interesting. I don't think people would use it on their own cards, because this card was the inhibitor for many FTKs when this card was at 1. When this card was at 3, it was ridiculous. This card was absolutely insane. And I still think it's kind of absolutely insane. Granted, it's only once a turn, so you gotta plan it out. But it's still kind of cool. I still like this. I still think this card will be decently playable. It's actually one of the better level 6 monsters that we've gotten. So, and the last card is Rescue Cat. So it's been eroded. You can only use it once a turn, and the monsters that you summon with it are negated. Their effects are negated. I'm not sure how the ruling works with X-Saber Dark Souls and how that works. I'm pretty sure it still gets its effect. I'm not entirely sure how this will work. I'm pretty sure it'll just be making X-Saber Invoker a lot more often now. Because we can just play 2 beast types and stuff like that. It'll be making Phantom Knights way easier to play around now, because you could just summon 2 level 3 X-Saber monsters. I mean, it's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. I think that we should have more cards that are, I guess, relatively close to what they're supposed to do, rather than completely changing the effect to where it's not even playable anymore. But anyway, guys, tell me what you guys think about these erratas in the comment section down below. I will see you in the next video. This has been Team Metamorphos signing out.